WrestleMania 39 is starting to take shape with 3 more matches added this past week on Monday Night Raw. There is now 7 matches in total, at least 2 or 3 more in the rumor mill as well that are expected to be announced before the show of shows. And of course, we've got some big news as well. Jey Uso returning to the Bloodline, turning on Sami Zayn on Raw. AEW Revolution 2023 took place this past Sunday. It's been a busy time and a fun time to be a wrestling fan. I'm going to dive into that and so much more here today. Get involved if you want to today on the show. In fact, Eric Douglas already here says, hi, how are you? I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're doing well as well. And yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in. We'll do a Q&A format as well. We're going to start off by talking about WrestleMania 39. We've got 3 new matches added to the show. If you've looked at the thumbnail, you can see one of them being John Cena going against Austin Theory. We've got confirmation that Seth freaking Rollins will be taking on Logan Paul. And we've also got a 6-woman tag team match. The new women's tag team champions Becky Lynch, Lita, and the returning Trish Stratus going against Damage Control. So, yeah, 3 big matches have been added to the show on top of what we've already got. Of course, we've got Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. We've got Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca Belair and Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, and Brock Lesnar versus Omos. That is your card so far. We're expecting Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt to be added to the card, along with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against the Usos. It's ticking along. We're getting there slowly, ladies and gents. And I'm thinking of one other match here, Edge versus Finn Balor, hopefully inside Hell in a Cell. So for me, it's looking like a very good card up to now. I'd love to know everyone's thoughts of the card in the comments below, but I'll be talking a little bit in particular about John Cena and Austin Theory in a couple of moments. But first off, we've said hello to Eric Douglas. We're going to quickly say hello to a few others. KXI says, yo, Steve, good to see you in the house. Hope you're doing well. Hello to Noob and Co as well. Great to see you here for the ride. I'm doing well. Thank you. Hope you're doing well also. Eric says, no, Jay, you were supposed to help Sami. He was supposed to help Sami, but there's a few details into this. I'm looking forward to going into that topic, so bear with me. We'll do, first off, John Cena and Austin Theory. A couple of theories I've got with that as well. Theory will be said a lot in this video. And then, yeah, we're going to talk about Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Honestly, one of my favourite things, the way that played out at the end of Raw this past week. KSI says WrestleMania is looking to be stacked this year. I'm really liking the look of the match card so far. I would have changed, obviously, Brock and Omos, and would have changed Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt. But apart from that, I'm really liking the way it's put together. And to be fair, I'm not going to knock other stuff until I've seen it. I do think Brock and Omos will have its place on the card. I think they'll do the right things to make that match work. Like I said, Braun Strowman almost actually worked really well at Crown Jewel. And as well as that also, I mean, who knows? Maybe I can be convinced the Bray Wyatt storyline will work for me in the long run. But so far, I'm yet to be convinced. One other bit of news as well, just quickly before we go on to everybody else, just want to say quickly, we've got King and Queen of the Ring making a return to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia at the last, I believe the last weekend in May. I believe it's the 26th of May that's been announced. So anyone that's got their theories of who will be King and Queen this year, feel free to let me know in the comments below as well. But I'll be interested to know who people think will be winning this year. Ghost Spider 2003 in-house, hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking out the video. So you put a comment as well on my video earlier. I'll go back to that as soon as I finished here. And also we've got Eric saying, I guess the women's tag titles won't be defended. No, it doesn't look like it now that it's in that 6-woman tag team match. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler for the longest time were expected to be going for those championships, but Ronda was injured this past week on SmackDown. The fact this 6-woman tag team match has been made on Raw makes me feel like maybe they're not going to be on the card at all. I don't know for sure. I don't have the inside scoop on that, but it's just a feeling I've got. Maybe that injury could be legitimate. That's all I'm thinking from here, which will be a bit disappointing in the case because I thought finally we're going to get Becky and Ronda in the ring at the same time again. Looks like that's not going to be. But if you look at long-term storytelling, Damage Control against Becky, Lita, and Trish does kind of make sense for me. Eric Douglas says, I never forget Sami in the Bank. We'll never forget Sami in the Bank, but probably not going to get King Sami, though, are we, Eric, to be fair, for obvious reasons. But certainly be interested in what people feel for that prestigious King of the Ring tournament, who would be winning it later this year. KXI says, I unfortunately missed Raw loss. That seems like I missed a lot. It was actually a really good show, I thought. I thought that if you look at Raw last night, I mean, here we've even got a comment here with something I've not mentioned from Raw here. Will Carmella and Chelsea Green be at WrestleMania 39 due to their recent antics with Asuka and Bianca Belair? Them two teaming up, it seems to be on Raw. That's a really fun thing that we've seen. Well, I've mentioned there before with the Austin Theory, John Cena. That was fantastic. On the show, we had Jey Uso, Sami Zayn. Edge returning again. Seems to return quite a lot. But the dynamic with Sami and KO, lots of things. If you get a chance to go and check it out, KXI, go out your way to watch this Raw because it's worth your time. Even to watch the key elements of the show, I think it's worth it alone. But to answer the question that's been given here, if they're going to be involved on WrestleMania 39, for me, I do believe that they're going to be in a women's battle royale. I think that's the best placement for Carmella and Chelsea Green at this point. But they do reckon they'll be in a tag team match against Asuka and Bianca Belair on the road to Mania. My only critique with that, I do hope that Asuka and Bianca Belair get onto having friction with each other. That's what I'd like to see, but we've not seen enough of that at this moment. I'll go for the other comments, and then we will talk about John Cena versus Austin Theory. I'm hook, line, sinkering everyone in so far with that, but Ghostfinder 2003 says Jey Uso or Solo Sikoa is going to use a chair Roman Reigns after WrestleMania, like Sami Zayn did on Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. I completely agree with you, and I think it's going to be Jey Uso, and I'm going to explain why very soon in this video as well. We've got here, Eric Douglas goes, my theory for King and Queen, live for Queen, and my theory is Austin for King. I'll lead my way out. Please stay, Eric. I'm liking what you've done there. That's a lot of fun. I like the way you've put that together, and I think two very good selections. I could see both of them actually happening. So, yeah, I like your suggestions there. Galiac 2, thank you for tuning into the stream. Hi everyone, hi to you as well. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for getting involved. Also, KXI says, oh, that's a cool tag team with Carmella and Chelsea Green. I'm actually really enjoying the interaction they both had over the last couple of weeks. I think they've been really fun. I liked Adam Pearce as well on Raw. Actually saw them talking backstage, just looked at them, just went the other direction. It's just one of the sort of small details there that I just like, which Triple H brings into his shows. Eric says, damn, Triple H, what's the fascination with Saudi? They have the money deal there. It's there. So whether people like it or not, they will be continuing to honor that contract. I believe the contract was for 10 years at the time. They've missed some shows, of course, due to the pandemic as well. So that relationship is going to continue, whether people like it or not, for at least, I guess, another few years or so at this point. But the fact is that that's the show that we've got, King and Queen of the Ring. For me, I'm liking that we actually have King of the Ring back. I'm liking they've incorporated the Queen element into it as well, and I'm hoping that I'm hoping be good tournaments. I mean, the Queen's crown last time wasn't given a lot of time, and I hope that they'll make it better this time around. That for me would be really cool. But yeah, it is what it is when it comes to the Saudi shows. I want to see Austin Theory win at Mania, but I also want to see Cena bring back Thuganomics. The Thuganomics Cena would be quite cool. And for me, I think this is a good place now to talk about John Cena and Austin Theory. My goodness, the segment on Raw was fantastic. I mean, obviously, the idea of Cena coming out and just really feeling the Boston crowd, everyone on his side, Austin Theory coming out, looking to get that WrestleMania match, and John Cena turning it down. And then sort of you see Theory saying, look, you know, you've seen your moniker, never give up. I'm not giving up. You're giving up on the fans for not accepting this match. I thought that was really well played from Austin Theory there, but John Cena's just completely ate him up, chewed him up and swallowed him out, didn't he? Literally said, look, I did it to protect you. You're not ready. No one cares about you. You know, saying the idea of like the piped in crowd noise as well when, you know, Theory was saying he was bald. He's, I'd rather be bald than have piped in crowd noise to make people think I care. People don't care about Austin Theory. People don't understand what Austin Theory is. And he basically used himself as well to compare Austin Theory. It's like, you're through that ruthless aggression phase where I almost got fired because I didn't know who I was. I didn't believe in what I was doing. And I like the idea that he said that if you take this match, if you lose at WrestleMania, you lose everything. And if you win, you'll still lose everything because you'll have to come out that following night on Raw and you'll have to confront everybody. You'll have to see everybody, and you won't have me there to get you over, to protect you on that moment. I thought it was, to be fair, with Cena at his best. I mean, you could even argue and say, look, pretty much I'm going to have to bury you here, like classic John Cena back in 2010. But I think the reason they're doing this, they really are trying to build Austin Theory up. And for me, I'm actually going to say that I believe Austin Theory will win at WrestleMania. It is a United States Championship match after all, so I don't see a part-timer in Cena actually winning that championship. So it's a big win for Austin Theory that will put him on the map for WrestleMania as well. Arguably one of the biggest WrestleManias being built to this date as well. And then what's the plan going for Monday Night Raw? Because they're clearly saying, look, you need something else. You can't just go off with a win from Cena and get lost in the shuffle again and just not make it mean anything. We need to make fans care about you. This makes me feel that this could be the next step in the plan that Triple H has for Austin Theory. It's clear that John Cena's come back, wants to work with Theory because he sees what's there for Austin Theory, sees a future guy that could be the top guy in the company, perhaps even the biggest attraction in the company. For me, I look at it and see the end of the segment, which I thought was very interesting, saying that Austin Theory didn't deserve what he's getting, but he's going to get it anyway. He doesn't even deserve to be on WrestleMania, but someone who does is Cody Rhodes. And he did sort of like a passing of the torch moment. I automatically feel in my head, we're going to see Austin Theory and Cody Rhodes as the following pay-per-view. Perhaps it's Backlash. That will probably be your main event. If Cody wins the gold as well, Theory could be going for those championships. I wouldn't be surprised. And if Theory attacks Cody the next night on Raw, using Cena as the bait for people to take notice, that would be very interesting to see as well. And I think one other thing that could really help Theory going forward is a faction. I'd like to see Theory bring a couple of people up from NXT just to build a faction, or just use people on the roster that aren't being used to this point. Someone like a Bronson Reed would be good in his corner. I'm going to say Bron Breakker because I think Breakker has got a very bright future anyway. When he breaks away from Theory later down the line, like he probably inevitably would, that would be a good way to get Breakker over as well. So that's sort of the ideas I have for Austin Theory. And I think WWE have got big, big plans for him going through 2023. I don't think that this is simply just going to be Theory loses to Cena at WrestleMania. But I'd love the Thuganomics to come back. I'd like to see the rap done on Theory. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Also, Tom Colley suggested on his channel, we're seeing all these movie flashbacks with Austin Theory, with movies, sorry, for WrestleMania. I'm getting ahead of myself. We've seen it with the Joker with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. How about Austin Theory doing the Marine to mock John Cena? It's something we could see potentially between now and WrestleMania. I think it would be a very good character trait. Let's go back into the comments then, shall we? KXI says, it's got to be Gunther for King of the Ring. I love that idea. To be fair, anything that involves Gunther winning, I'm quite into the idea of. So for me, I'm quite a fan of that. So yeah, KXI, I certainly could see that one happening. Eric wanted King Sami so bad. Do you know what? I wouldn't be against the idea, but as we say, it's definitely not going to happen. Richard says, I want to see Miko Satomura as the new NXT Women's Champion as a heel. I think, to be fair, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get either tonight, Richard. For those that haven't seen them, my NXT Robot predictions are available on the channel. This stream will finish before NXT starts, so if you get an opportunity, make sure to go and check those out. Also, I've done my fantasy booking for Stand and Deliver as well for anyone that hasn't seen that as of yet. Ghost Spider 2003 says, my opinion is very unlikely, but how about Austin Theory beats John Cena Raw after WrestleMania and John Cena can pass the torch and Austin Theory turns face? Great theory there with it. I said theory again, didn't I? With the idea of Theory turning face, almost a respect factor brought into it, and the fact that the fans can get on side and people care and get behind him. I like if that's the final destination of that story. Could be interesting. I just believe that Austin Theory will remain a heel for some time to come. But hey, look, it could happen. Never say never in WWE. And to be fair, I wouldn't be against the idea. But would Cena then beat Theory at WrestleMania to lose the next night? For me, I would prefer it happen on the bigger stage. But that's just me. And that's just my opinion on it. But certainly, I like what you brought to the table there. Eric says, I think Theory losing his Money in the Bank was the best thing for him. In hindsight, I have to agree with you. At the time of when it first happened, I was not necessarily thought it was a bad thing him losing it. I just thought in the way he done it, it was really, really bad. I put it as the worst cash-in of all time at that point. I still stand by it because it's for a mid-card title rather than for a world championship. But look, it has proven to be the best thing for him. They've repackaged him. They've built him well. He's been a United States champion for quite a while. And now he's facing John Cena, someone who was arguably one of the best United States champions in the last decade or so, especially with the open challenges. Theory's done those as well. So, yeah, I mean, for me, so far it's turned out to be a good thing for him. But I don't know how it's going to be going forward, but I'd like to think that Triple H has got big plans. I've expressed what I think they could be. Let's see if it does play out or not. Shout out as well to Tino's time in-house as well. Tina, hope you are doing well. Thank you for checking out the stream. Richard Rose hoping tonight that we can have a GM in NXT to be Edge. We've got WrestleMania coming up. He's not going anywhere. Don't worry about that. He'll be sticking for Raw next week. Finn Balor, I'm hoping Hell in a Cell. I'm hoping Brood Edge against Demon Finn Balor. But hey, a guy can only dream, right? Caxline says, I saw this video from Merce where he said he could call Austin's faction the Now, and the members were Austin, Grayson Waller, Noam Dar, and JC Jane. I like the look of the faction, particularly Grayson Waller, I think would be a good shout for that faction as well. He's a good talker. He's got the arrogant side that Theory has as well, so I quite like that. Noam Dar seems to be very lost in WWE. Is he still part of the company? I think he's on the roster page, but it certainly give him something to do. JC Jane, for me, I prefer to remain NXT, but I like the idea of the Now, but there is actually, I've seen it in the last hour, there has been a cease and desist for Austin Theory to use the Now in WWE from an independent tag team. Unfortunately, the names do escape me. I saw it on WrestleTalk's website, so I'll use that as the source of wherever WrestleTalk got it from. So unfortunately, I don't think the Now could happen, but if you'd have asked me that before I saw that report, I would have said I really like that name as well. Tino asking, how do I see the Fatal 5-Way ending on Friday? Very good question. I can see a double pin happening. I think that's probably the way they're going to do it. I can see that Drew and Sheamus both get a pin at the same time. And I think that the ref is going to be a bit weird, or a ref's taken out. Maybe a new ref comes in. 2 pins done at the same time. I'm not sure how it can quite work out, but that could be one way. And I think that another way could be that one wins on SmackDown in controversial fashion. The Battle Royal was supposed to happen at Madison Square Garden this Sunday to do with Gunther as well for the IC title. They could play that into it as well. I still think that Drew and Sheamus find a way into making this a triple threat match. I don't feel that it's going to be just one, not the other. If it is, I think it's Drew McIntyre. But for me, I'm going to stick Manic out early. I think that I think both will find a way in. I think that Drew will lose to Sheamus at WrestleMania. I think Drew will then turn heel. Sheamus will remain babyface as the Grand Slam champion. Gunther will move on to either King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, or one of those championships. Gunther will not be pinned, and I think he'll go on to be very successful. But yeah, going this Friday, Drew or Sheamus or both will find a way to get a full victory. Tino, I know you'll be live for Roadblock tonight, so anyone that actually is looking for a live stream to watch along, go and support Tino's time. He's fantastic content creator, great for the live with the audience interaction as well. Make sure to go and watch it with him. For those that are going to watch it tonight, I encourage you to do so. Unfortunately, Tino, as you know, for me, it's a bit late for me. I will be watching it tomorrow. Kate says, who are some of the superstars you like to see switch brands after WrestleMania? Fantastic question. I've not really put too much thought into the draft as of yet. As you know, or for a long time, regular people as well on this channel will know, I love a draft season. That tends to be where I do some of my favorite content creating. But to look at the current sort of landscape, I could see Judgment Day definitely making the switch over to Friday Night SmackDown. I think that once Rhea obviously wins these, well, obviously, he's not obvious at this point, but I feel it's likely she wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. It makes sense to move that group over. That then can make new feuds for people that are stuck on Raw that have been feuding with them for the longest time. I think Rey Mysterio probably goes back to Raw if he remains active. I've seen a couple of rumors about his longevity in the WWE ring. But I think Bobby Lashley for SmackDown could be quite fun. I think Gunther could go over to Raw, if I'm honest, with Imperium. I think that longer matches suit Gunther. So I think that that could be a good way that they could actually use Imperium going forward. And they've definitely been one of the highlights of SmackDown in the longest time. I think Sami Zayn could go over to Raw, to be perfectly honest. If the Bloodline's always going to be on SmackDown, they probably want to give Sami that fresh start. So that's probably some of the early ones I've got in mind at the moment. But we'll have to wait and see what will happen further down the line. Okay, so it says, what if the night after WrestleMania, if Cena wins, he holds an open challenge and Jay White accepts? I love this idea. I love it. Almost it makes me go back to Ghost Spider and say, yes with your idea and yes with this. Let's just put it all in together. Yeah, I don't know. I love the idea of Jay. I think Jay White is actually a cert to actually debut in WWE now. I thought if he was going to debut at Revolution for AEW, I thought maybe that could have been a scenario that he would be there and would not get the opportunity. We know FTR now, I suppose, are not coming to WWE. That's my understanding. After Revolution, I don't know how true. I've not seen any of the official sources for it, but yeah, Jay White, I think now is definitely WWE bound. He didn't debut at that show. That would have been a show Revolution to have had him come in and make an impact, unless they do it on Dynamite this week. Which, yeah, I'm not sure. I suppose they could do it, but I'm now really thinking he will be WWE bound. JD McDonough should have a call up to the main roster and join Judgment Day. Like the idea because he's a creepy dude. I say it in every stream now. I mentioned JD McDonough, creepy dude. The character on TV portrayed creepy dude. But yeah, for me, I'd like to see him paired with Karrion Kross personally, just because I think that both of them seriously need a haircut. Yeah, if not going to get that way, Judgment Day would be good as well. If not, put them both in Judgment Day. Why not? We see if Cena wins, I bet it'll be exactly what will happen. I don't know if it would be White though. Maybe Fury, as we mentioned above, there could be someone that could come back in and try and get it the next night on Raw. But yeah, I just really like that idea. Kota Ibushi is someone that's on the free market as well. You never know; these things, stranger things have happened. Who wins the battle? Kiana James and Fallon Henley for the tag titles tonight, NXT Roadblock. This is not a match that I have seen advertised with Kiera James and Fallon Henley. For anyone that is aware of it, Richard, you must be aware of it. Let me know what it is, and we can look it up and see what it is. I'll give you a prediction. But if there is a tag team championship match tonight, I think they retain. I don't think it's the right time for them to lose it. If Sheamus wins the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, then Drew should turn a heel. I agree as well. The friction is there now with Drew and Sheamus after SmackDown this past week. So for me, I'm quite keen on seeing that take place. And I think Drew is long overdue a heel turn. So I'd be down for that. Sheamus, the Grand Slam champion. For me, I like all those things tick together. One last thing I'll just quickly say. I think I mentioned the Cody Rhodes thing, so I don't need to mention that to you. No, I've already done that, so let's not go there. Eric, which was maybe Cora Jade and JC Jade. Is that could be who they're facing? I've got no idea. C Nation Dog in Houses says, I see John Cena putting Austin Theory over at WrestleMania. I do as well, just as I think he should really. I think it's the right thing to do. Also, Drew McIntyre hasn't been the same since Clash at the Castle. I would agree. Karaoke at the end of the show after losing a world title match probably isn't the best way to go, but that's just my personal take on it. So, yeah, I do agree. Drew has been lacking something, and I do think when we get 2 world titles again, he'll be back in the mix. But in the meantime, him versus Sheamus, I think, as a heel, and Sheamus as a babyface, I think could work really, really well. Have a quick water break quickly. Excuse me. All right. Eric says, imagine after they split the world titles, Cody takes WWE, then we get Omega versus Sami Zayn versus White versus Ospreay. We could dream, Eric, and I'm going to dream along with you. I'd like to see all of those in WWE. I sadly don't think it's going to happen, but do you know what? We can dream it. Absolutely. Sination says NXT was probably mad when Bryan Danielson and MJF went overtime. Poor NXT, yeah, I can imagine, especially if he chose to watch it live. I don't know if he did or didn't. I think he said at the time he's planning to watch it the next day, so a bit of relief for him if so. But yeah, he wasn't happy with me when I suggested the idea on the prediction show. Hey, it did happen, and what looks like a hell of a main event. And I must admit, I actually really enjoyed the overtime. It was really, really strong part of the match. And let's talk about Revolution. I quickly will just do that. We'll talk about it for 3 or 4 minutes, give a quick review on it. Then we've done that. We can go back to our questions with everybody in. For me, I really thought that Revolution was one of the best AEW shows I've seen in quite a while. It really helped hit a reset button with a lot of things, helped with storyline direction, characters, wrestlers they want to push. I think it really helped a lot of people. Ricky Starks getting that big marquee win over Chris Jericho at Revolution, I think was a great way to kick off the show. That shows there you've put him in front of a hot crowd, opening match, everyone's on your side. He gets his big moment. For me, that was brilliant. I did find it a bit weird Sammy Guevara wanted to get involved in the match, but as JS were meant to be banned from ringside, but minor detail, we'll let it slide. Ricky got his moment. I'm happy. When you look then with the next match, the Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage, the final burial, really like the idea of the casket match element, the sort of casket match / buried alive. Thought it was really good. I mean, Christian's outfit as well was fantastic. He was loving life being a heel. Everyone chanting the "F you, Christian." I thought was really, really good. And the match was just fun. It was really fun. Very dramatic conclusion as well when Jungle Boy picked up the victory. Again, you're pushing one of your younger guys there to get towards the next level. Can he get a championship in 2023? I really, really do. A singles championship could be in line for Jungle Boy. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the All Atlantic Championship at this point. Obviously, match 3 on the card, House of Black winning against the Elite. Absolute banger of a trios match. Really enjoyed it. There was the one result I got wrong, and I was a bit surprised it happened, but at the same time, really happy for Malachi Black to be a champion in All Elite Wrestling. I really think House of Black have been probably misused to this point since they've come in. Hopefully now they really gives them a good sense of direction going forward, and I'm really hoping for them. It's a great match. Great to see Malachi and Omega. Can you tell it's late where I am? Them two in the ring for the first time, mixing up as well. When Omega took the spinning kick to the chin and the way he just reacted falling down, beautiful moment in the match there. Yeah, absolutely superb. Match 4 on the card was the women's triple threat. Was probably not the strongest match of the night, but what I love is the storytelling really drove throughout. Really loved that. Jamie Hayter retained the championship, pinning Ruby Soho. You saw the confliction after the match with Ruby in the corner, and it happened as we predicted. We all said it here in the chat here, that's what we thought would happen, and it did come to fruition. Ruby Soho becoming someone that went with Paige and Tony Storm, should say Saraya and Tony Storm. So it's kind of like the freelancers, the outsiders are one member stronger. As Noob, you suggested a while ago, if you're still with us in the chat, I do believe you're right. It's going to go to blood and guts. We're going to build 2 teams of 5, and I'm excited for it. Match 5 on the card then. Trying to think now what match 5 was. What was match 5 on the card? Let's just skip ahead. Oh, of course it was. How can you forget the Texas Death Match? John Moxley and Hangman Page. Forking L is what I'm going to say there. The fork spot going to Hangman's head was gory as. I mean, to be fair, I don't wince much watching wrestling. This match had all the makings of doing so. The bricks being involved. Bricks are not really my taste in wrestling, but just the barbed wire being everywhere as well. It was bloody, it was gory, it was gruesome. The hanging of John Moxley over the ring rope to tap out was a very violent spot to end the match. But do you know what? It was violently beautiful in a weird way. It was sadistic, and I've got to say, sometimes you question yourself when you go, I quite enjoyed watching that. It was, it's not usually my taste in wrestling, but this match, I think the story driven between these two throughout, and Hangman's new music was pretty cool. I quite enjoyed this match. We had Wardlow beating Samoa Joe with his own finisher to win the TNT Championship. The match was fine. Nothing more to shout about. I thought it was the right result. Great with the storytelling for Wardlow. Hope he can push on from here. Him versus Powerhouse Hobbs on Wednesday's Dynamite should be a fantastic match. The Guns retained the Tag Team Championships in what was a fun tag team match. Nothing more. Didn't really do a lot else anywhere else in the card for me, but it was just a fun tag team match. Good to see FTR come back, as I said. Hopefully now they will be sticking around. And MJF winning the main event, of course, against Bryan Danielson, which I thought was an epic Iron Man match, 60 minutes. I thought the first half built at a good pace, but once they said there was the no break between falls, very clever the way it was done. They used it to the advantage to get some quick falls in there for 2-2. MJF, as we thought, would be dastardly to get himself a fall as well, and obviously took 2 falls there. It was a bloody mess as well. And obviously, once it went into overtime, he got desperate when the running sort of knee hit from Bryan Danielson. I thought for a second MJF was losing it. I couldn't believe it. But of course, MJF found a way to retain in the end. And yeah, epic match. Really enjoyed it. The show overall for me was an 8 out of 10. It was a bloody good time. Let's go into the comments then once again, shall we? The Nubicote TV says, with the King and Queen of the Ring back, would WWE bring back the Mae Young Classic? And which free agent will be in the tournament? For me, it's Natalia Markova, Maria May, and Billy Starks. 3 fantastic indie shouts you've given there, by the way, Noob. From what I've seen of their work, I'm actually impressed with all 3. I'd love to see the Mae Young Classic come back. Triple H's idea, it was a Triple H baby. I think it'd be great for NXT, actually. That's what I'd like to see. We've got like the Dusty Classic for the men, the tag teams over there. They should put the Mae Young Classic on NXT, even as free agents or not. I think it'd be a good way to get them over. So yeah, I'd really like to see that. That's a really, really good shout there, Noob. Bring it back. Judgment Day Edge are spotted during NXT Roadblock officially. Interesting if they'll be on the show. We'll have to wait and see what role they're playing if they have been spotted. Let's see what happens. C Nation says, I think Katana Chance and Kelly Carter should have dropped the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships to Alba Fine and Isla Dawn at Stand and Deliver. That could have been a good shout. For me, I like the Henley Kiana James storyline right now. For me, I'm not. I think Katana Chance and Kelly Carter, they're a good tag team. Got nothing against them. But for me, I was getting a bit stale on their tag team runs. So for me, I was not too disappointed that they dropped the championships. Kexo says, who do you see beating Theory for the title? Right now, I see Bron Breakker. That's the guy I see becoming the next United States champion. I'd like it to be Montez Ford. They're probably the 2 names that stick out for me right now if I had to pick 2 names. But it's hard to say. I mean, Theory, for me, like I say, he's going to go strength for strength. I'll have to wait and see, really. He's going to need a big name to do so. It may even need, from what you said from one of your early questions, someone from the draft to come over from SmackDown. And Theory could end up on SmackDown, by the way, speaking about the draft. Signation Dog says, I do not see Drew McIntyre winning the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. Neither do I at this moment, although it's been a while since he last held it. I believe it's like 2009, 2010. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see, but I think Sheamus is the way to go for me. Ghost Spider says, if Bianca Belair wins at WrestleMania 39, who should, I guess, beat Bianca Belair? That's a very good question. I think that we would need to look and see what the draft could bring. We'd need to freshen those rosters up because there's literally no one left on Raw to do it. So yeah, I mean, Rhea Ripley, if she's SmackDown Women's Champion as well, it's not going to be Charlotte Flair. It's a name that could, but it's not a name I'm going to use. I'm going to say Raquel Rodriguez. Just because of the fact that she's definitely got fans that are definitely behind her, definitely in the IWC that seems to be there. I'd like to see a heel turn for Raquel as well, and I think that could be a good way to go. It'd be a fresh winner as well, building a new up-and-comer to beat a year-long champion. So yeah, that's who I'm going to go with. But hey, people know I'm a Liv Morgan fan as well. I wouldn't rule out Liv if she could go over in the draft. Kate Size says for himself, Bron Breakker would be the one to beat Fury for the US title. So yeah, I think we agree with that one there. Then Eric says, do you think Kenny and the Bucks stay? For the time being, yes. I actually think so. Let's quickly talk about that. One other thing comes from AEW's All Out, obviously with the press conference. MJF mimicking CM Punk, but instead of with the muffins, it was with pickles, right? I've not seen the full thing yet, but I've seen a clip on Denise Salcedo's Instagram account, her sharing that, and I thought it was really funny. I must admit, I had a bit of a chuckle to myself, and it made me think CM Punk's definitely coming back. They probably may even start off with CM Punk MJF for the world title, but now that FTR's back as well, I see that trios match happening over the summer. I think that probably everyone must be back on the same page from this going forward. But when it comes to the end of the year, they're all expiring around the same time, those contracts, so it could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they all jump to WWE, but if you had to ask me now, I think it's more likely to stay in AEW. Sination says, sorry for kind of being off topic. Never off topic. It's a Q&A. We can ask any question you like. I'll choose if I answer it, of course. But yeah, when it comes to Impact Wrestling, get it in there. But I'm glad that Ace Austin and Chris Bate won the Impact World Tag Team titles. They deserve it. It's long overdue. I'm pleased for them as well. I must admit, I've not seen the match yet, but I did see it on social media that they won. And yeah, I think that both have got great chemistry, both are great in-ring talents. And of course, the Bullet Club for life. So yeah, pleased that they won those tag team titles. Ghost Spider says, prediction for SummerSlam main event could be Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns versus Seth freaking Rollins for the Universal Championship. Love it. That's a big match. That's a big match. I like that match. It's been a long time since Randy and Roman in the ring together, and Seth as well. I'm just digesting that. I'm liking that. That's really good. I like that plan. Sinister says, why did AEW change the Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy match stipulation at the last second? Your guess is as good as mine. Obviously, I would be speculating. I've got no idea the real reason why. So it's probably not fair for me to even answer the question. But what I will say is, obviously, we did see Jungle Boy get a bit emotional. Obviously, he's lost his father and stuff, and that's been brought into storyline. I wonder, if some real emotions came in towards the end of that match, which is probably the delay of putting the lid down. But maybe they thought that wasn't the right way to go. Maybe they thought, yeah, I could do this. It's cool. I'll do the stipulation. I don't really know. It's hard to answer really a good answer why. But one thing's for sure, they did the match. It was a fantastic match. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, the right winner came out of it as well. Sid Nation says that the Elite should have had a longer reign with the AEW Trios Championships. They should have done. I think what's very clever, we mentioned Brawl Out a couple of seconds ago, is how many people are still asking about Brawl Out, really? Because the Elite came back and you think everyone will hear what they've got to say about those championships. And then ultimately, they've come back, done a best of 7 series with Death Triangle. They've now lost championships now to the House of Black. No one's asking about what happened at Brawl Out. Everyone's sort of, it's under the carpet. No one cares anymore. The only thing I can think of for me, why I think they lost those championships is because probably Kenny is maybe wanted back in the main event scene. Can you imagine Kenny Omega versus MJF? That'd be a great match to see. And the Young Bucks potentially could go back into the tag team division. A lot of people were complaining about the tag team division going into Revolution. Well, we've got FTR that have returned, and we've got perhaps the Young Bucks going back in. All of a sudden, that division looks a lot stronger very, very quickly. And add the new team, Aussie Open, there as well, if they have signed. I'm not sure full-time, but they've been appearing quite a bit of late. that division looks healthy enough to me. KXI says, am I the only one who thinks if Theory and Waller became a team, they could be the new rated RKO? Chat, let us know. What do you reckon? Could it be? Could it not be? I'm not against the idea of them being a tandem. I think that the tandem could work. Theory for me definitely gives me Randy Orton vibes. I know everyone's comparing with Cena. Waller doesn't give me Edge vibes, but certainly I think he's a fantastic talker, and I think that they definitely could be controversial. And if you're going with rated RKO, they were a controversial duo, so I can definitely see where you're going with that. We've got C Nation says there have been 8 TNT champions and 6 of them are multiple time TNT champions. So it means nothing if you become a multiple time TNT champion. Well, I mean, it's nice to hold a championship more than once, I guess, if you've lost it. But yeah, it's good. I didn't know that 6 out of 8 champions have held it more than once. But now that you mention it, it does kind of make sense. Okay, so it says just a little prediction for Blood and Guts. He sent this message too early, so I'll go and find that message for you, KXI. Here we go. Team WWE, Saraya, Tony Storm, Ruby Soho, Athena, and Serena Deeb. Great team, all former WWE. That works really, really well. Against Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida, Willow Nightingale, and I don't know for the 5th member. Some good members there. I like the fact Hikaru Shida's mentioned that because, of course, she was a part of that story at the start when Saraya and Tony Storm built this freelancers outside the duo. So I like that. Willow Nightingale as well. Great athlete as well. Could we not get Jade Cargill in there? Because Cargill was not doing anything of any note of late. I know she's meant to be a heel, but get the woman in. She could be good for that spot there. She's definitely homegrown and one of the top AEW stars for me. So yeah, I would like to see that personally. Love the match idea, by the way. Ghost Spider says, if Randy Orton does not return for the Raw after WrestleMania, I could see Matt Riddle getting fired. Goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, he's not got a lot of plans in place, has he? He's finished the rehab. He's not come back. I would say it's safe to say now he won't be involved at WrestleMania. I never want to see anyone lose their job, so I think that would be not good. And like you say, not wanting it, you could see it. I mean, I could see him not being on TV, so I suppose I see what you're saying. I think it's probably why I'm going to leave that at that point. Sinistra says, I've heard rumors that Gunther will win the vacated Universal Championship when Cody Rhodes vacates it, so it's most likely dropping the IC title at WrestleMania. Would love to know the source, C Nation. If you've got it for us, that would be fantastic, just so we can reference the source in the video. But obviously, rumors are rumors, so we take it with a pinch of salt. Would Cody actually vacate the Universal Championship? I mean, you could definitely give SmackDown the land of opportunity, a new championship to fight for. I'd be certainly in favor of Gunther winning it. And obviously, I do think Gunther may lose that championship at WrestleMania, so we'll have to wait and see. We've got as well Eric saying that Priest should dethrone Theory. Wouldn't be. I've got 30. I'm guessing going with Theory there, but yes, absolutely. I know you're a big Priest fan, so I wouldn't be against the idea for you either. Certainly, Eric, I'd be celebrating on your behalf. C Nation says it's just sad. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter's long time reign ended to put together tag team. Easy for me to say. Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn are thrown together, but they are established. And they are established. I mean, they kind of, the thing that I like about why it would be Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre winning those championships from Fallon Henley and Kiana James is more because they are two thrown together tag teams, but as you can see, one of them is completely united and the other one still has friction. I think there could be fun playing to the story, and especially as Isla Dawn's kind of got the spooky nonsense going on as well. I think that they could just make that storyline work. For me, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, great tag team. There wasn't a lot of story direction for me, and I think that that's why there was a disconnect with me and that tag team, perhaps why I was personally ready for a title change. After the Bloodline breakup, I could see Judgment Day or the Hurt Business as the top faction in WWE. Judgment Day absolutely are on their way to doing so. The Hurt Business, obviously, we've seen MVP post a picture on social media. It was himself, Omos, the Street Profits, and I think Carmelo Hayes was wrapping up that lineup. Now, if that's the new Hurt Business, business is picking up. And to quote the Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram, you don't get business without a profit. So I liked what he said. There was this caption there. And yeah, the Street Profits being a part of that would be quite fun to see. I should say I was going to talk about Jey Uso, so I'm going to do that for you now. I love the turn on Sami Zayn. I'm just going to quickly give a couple of reasons why. The storyline telling of that Jimmy Uso, if Jey didn't return to the family, the Roman was going to blame Jimmy. The fact that we've seen for the longest time that he's seen as the way out of the bloodline, the fact that Sami's told him that, the fact that Sami thought he was his boy. With two great arguments there of why Jey Uso would come back and what side would he go on. He teased it with Sami. He then turned on Sami, broke a lot of hearts in Boston that night, and probably a lot of people watching at home. But for me, I thought it was brilliant, genius storytelling, because why has he done it? He's back with the bloodline, obviously, but there's a really easy narrative to get him out of it as well, to still turn on Roman after WrestleMania. He's not done this for Roman, he's done it for Jimmy, and that's what I love about it. The fact that Jimmy Uso was the one that was going to take, probably going to take the bullet on behalf of Jey, and Jey's always there. He's already proven he'll be there for his brother, even when he's not there for Roman, when they defended the tag team championships on SmackDown a few weeks ago, I believe against Ricochet and Braun Strowman. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, for me, that is great storytelling. It just adds another layer to what is a perfect storyline going on. The friction with Sami Zayn and KO as well. The fact that Sami trying to get KO on side, KO saying, I want nothing to do with it. It's just easy you go back to Roman Reigns. And if you see that little nugget that was given to us when we saw the Boogs and Alliance segment, you can see in the background Cody Rhodes is talking to Kevin Owens. And of course, later on that night, Cody Rhodes was the one who came out to make a save for Sami Zayn. So it's a matter of time, people, before we get Sami and KO back together. But the Jey Uso thing, it's masterful storytelling. The fact that it can go any direction still. I could be wrong with my theory saying he's just done it for Jimmy, but I think it just makes more sense then when they lose the titles, Roman loses his, and then just simply, now it's Jey, Jimmy, and Solo at the end of Raw together, no Roman in sight. That group can turn on Roman Reigns and it will be perfectly done. So for me, I love the segment. I think there's a lot of potential there with that. Go back to the comments now for you now. And we've got NXT in the house. We gave you a shout earlier on. We said, were you upset? In fact, if you're still with us, were you upset when it was overtime for the AEW Revolution 60-man Ironman match? We need to know how upset you were when overtime was announced, especially when we spoke about it here on the stream before. But his question says, hey, fella, just joined, but wanted to know what you think of the Mania match will be for the IC title. 6-man ladder match, maybe. Now, that's a good idea, actually, because Tina asked me about the 5-way on Friday. That would be a good way to just say if there was no result, put everyone in a ladder match. That would be a great way to get it going. Wouldn't be against it. And it gets people on the card as well. I've seen the New Day are on the poster, so it feels like they will have a match at WrestleMania. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Snoop Dogg's on that poster as well. It'd be interesting to know what his role at WrestleMania would be. But hopefully no frog splash this time. That's what I want to see for what he did in AEW last year or 2 years ago now. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But I'm going to go with Drew and Sheamus in a triple threat match with Gunther. For me, I just think that match screams 5-star. So I think I want to see that the most. But the ladder match is a great way of getting the title off of Gunther without him needing to be pinned. So for me, that does make sense as well. C Nation says Sheamus will pin Drew McIntyre in the triple threat match, and exactly what I've said there, C Nation, earlier in the video. You've literally said it to a T. That's exactly my thoughts and my feelings, and you've written it to perfection. I'm glad you agree. C Nation also goes to say, what if they had Bron Breakker beat John Cena to win the United States Championship on night 2? Just some fantasy booking. Well, if John Cena is on night 1 against Fury, and if he comes out on night 2, does an open challenge, would be quite nice. And the only thing I would be against this idea is just the fact that I think a lot of the roster are not going to get onto WrestleMania as it is, which would be a shame if that's the scenario. And then Cena wrestling twice. But at the same time, I think if Cena was to put someone over WrestleMania, Bron Breakker would be a fantastic person to do so. But I do think, as I say, I do think he will be the one putting over Austin Theory. Theory will get his WrestleMania moment. Another one then from C Nation says ASOS and Chris Bay just need the Impact World Championship to become Triple Crown winners. Fingers crossed to get it one day. Both are incredible talents. Would love to see it. Eric Douglas says he would love to see Roxanne Perez dethrone Bianca Belair. I think we're a way away from that, but certainly is a match I'd like to see. As for NXT call-ups after WrestleMania, we'll talk about Bron Breakker. Someone else that's been missing off WWE TV is Cora Jade from NXT for a number of weeks now. Cora Jade is someone that definitely could be a good match for Bianca Belair after WrestleMania if they decide to do that. Nubico says, which character from any promotion do you find it interesting, only to find it very stale? WWE, Bray Wyatt, AEW, Orange Cassidy. Right, I see. I love the fact you give the examples there because it give me a better understanding with the question there. I mean, obviously with WWE, Bray Wyatt would be the same answer. I mean, if you go back to when he was coming back, we talked about the ideas of how we felt about it, and there was genuine excitement all across the board. When we got the White Rabbit stuff going on, there was genuine excitement for it. But since he's come in, I mean, Jones and I have been talking about it today offline, and we both said like it's two paces when it comes to Bray Wyatt's story. It's slow and stop. There's not really much happening. Like if you look with long-term storytelling, is great, but you need some sexual storytelling for long-term storytelling. There seem to be missing a lot of it. So for me, the Bray Wyatt stuff is getting very stout very, very quickly. AEW, I'm not actually as stale of Orange Cassidy as many other people. I still find it quite entertaining when he does his little stuff in the ring. I don't think he finds new ways to do the stuff, so that's why I kind of like it. But something perhaps stale in AEW, it's a very good question. May even have to come back to it. I feel a bit on the spot with that one. I'm trying to think through the Revolution card or someone else on the card that may work. I tell you who's someone who I'm finding very stout at the minute. Jay Lethal. Very generic, not very going on. I think the partnership with Jeff Jarrett isn't working for me. And I know he's a great worker. I used to love watching him in Ring of Honor. And I don't know, it's just something at the moment when Jay Lethal comes out, I think, oh, okay. Be a good match, but there'd be nothing about it that screams anything to me. If anything, I actually, when it comes to that act, I enjoy Sanjay Dutt the most at the minute. I can imagine like 9-year-old me loving when he gets his comeuppance every time he comes to the ring because he plays the really sort of like goofy heel to get like taken out by the babyface. And imagine like for the younger audience, that must be a lot of fun to watch. So I can imagine 9-year-old me would have loved watching Sanjay Dutt get beaten up. So for me, I find he really entertaining. But yeah. Although he's with Jay Lethal, I kind of feel like, nah, want to see him. So, yeah, that would be my answers for you. Nation says, House of Black do deserve it. I just don't know why they didn't have the Elite win the Trios Championships back at Full Gear. Yeah, it would have made sense. But, I mean, they've done the best of 7 season anyway. So I suppose there probably would have been, yeah, I don't know. The thing is, if we're being brutally honest, and it sounds like a really strange thing to say, the Elite aren't being booked the best in AEW as of late. They need to be better, which sounds strange. The MVPs, they've won every single title it seems that they've put their mind to. But yeah, it's just recently. It's a bit of a strange one. But as I said, the one angle that's going to get hot again for them is CM Punk and FTR. That's, even just do Omega versus Punk, that's enough to get everybody talking. Ghost Spider says, I could see the Creed brothers, Bron Breakker getting a call up after WrestleMania. I would agree with you. I think they're definitely 2 big shouts to do. In fact, it's a video I'm considering doing this week is 10 most likely NXT stars that be called up after WrestleMania. And I'll give you a spoiler, Ghost Spider. I agree with you. That's definitely 2 of them that would be featured. C Nation also says, if there are lots of multiple AEW TNT champions, then if it's not special, it's not the NXT title because a lot of title holders are not multiple time. I see where you're coming with that point there, C Nation. And obviously, yeah, with NXT is that way. I suppose they have a stepping stone, don't they? They have like, that next level to go to. They go to Raw, SmackDown, IC, US title, world titles. They've got somewhere to go. With TNT Championship, I suppose, yeah, they have still a ladder to go, but it's kind of like, we've seen loads of people in WWE, for example, The Miz. He's been WWE champion, but he's won the IC title so many times, and that's kind of his area, his championship that he goes for most of the time. So I guess that's probably the connection I can give there. But obviously, the TNT Championship should be something that catapults you to the world title. And hopefully, with some of those stars, it would be nice to see that happen further down the line. Ghostbusters says, my opinion, new Hurt Business should be Bobby Lashley, MVP, almost Street Profits, and Carmelo Hayes. I would agree, add Bobby Lashley into that because although he's an attraction, almost like probably, he's basically the same level now as what Brock Lesnar. They want to do that for, they wanted Bray versus Brock at WrestleMania. Brock turned it down. Bobby Lashley went, I'll do the match. That's not a problem. It's the same level guy, but he would be the focal point at the start of that group to help push everyone else along. Carmelo Hayes can be a mid card. Street Profits the tag. MVP, the mouthpiece, almost the bodyguard. Perfect faction. In fact, that dominates the entire company. Nation says, I hope we will still get Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso this year. My prediction will be SummerSlam. That's what I believe it will be. And I think that Jey Uso will pick up the victory when the match happens. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did rematch them at the Rumble where Roman can get his win back. That's how I can see it going. Why did the rush Jey Uso turn on Sami Zayn? I thought Jey Uso was going to do it this Friday. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was going to be on Friday as well. I don't necessarily see it as a rush, but I think perhaps they probably, my guess is they probably have, if I think of it like a chess game, it sounds boring, doesn't it? But, you think of how you're going to do piece by piece to win the game. And I suppose we've only got so many shows between now and WrestleMania. What do they want to do between now and then? They probably thought, well, Raw has to be done, so we can do this on SmackDown, this on Raw, this on SmackDown. So I think that's why this was a place to do it. For me, it was the main event segment of the show, which I think is very, very nice because it really puts the focal point of the importance of it as well. So for me, I was quite happy in the end that it took place on Raw. What I thought was a stacked show to begin with. I really enjoyed Raw this week. I can't deny it. Ghost One, I'm going to be honest with you, I've got no idea when Hangman Page's contract expires with AEW. The fact he's just got new entrance music for me would suggest that he's probably going to be sticking around for quite a while. Sinister says, I can see Cody Rhodes being the one to put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn back together. Certainly suggests that way after Raw this past week with that little golden egg just in the background there. It feels that Cody Rhodes is going to be the one that puts everything together. And I expect on the go-home week, a six-man tag team match, Cody, KO, and Sami against Solo and the Usos. They'll probably be on the Raw or the SmackDown, but probably more likely will be the Raw. I can't imagine they'll do a match like that close, the night before WrestleMania, especially if they're couple of matches that don't fit on the card. NXT answering them with the 60-man Iron match. It was just expected, really, wasn't it? It was. I hope for your sake she wasn't like staying up live watching it like 5 a.m. and then going, oh no, I've got to do more. But I mean, as I said in my little mini review I did for you, I thought that was really well done the way they put that actually together in the end. So yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. I'm sorry to say. Sination goes on to say as well, good storytelling by WWE. I feel bad for Sami Zayn, he says, but he feels he got rejected by Kevin Owens tonight and now Jey Uso. Absolutely. And rejection, yeah, was there, but I do think that, as I say, eventually KO will come to the aid. I'm wondering if it will be SmackDown potentially this week, or could it be Monday Night Raw next week? I have a feeling it could be Raw next week because it's been a predominant Raw storyline up to this point. Signature says, I like long title reigns, but after Roman Reigns loses WrestleMania, we need a break from it. I kind of agree with you. I kind of feel that the Cody run will probably be, I mean, they want to establish Cody, so I think he needs to at least hold it till SummerSlam, but I would agree with you that it doesn't need to be a 2-3 year title reign. But again, I think it's always the difference of babyfaces to heels. It's more fun for a babyface to chase a championship, where for a heel, it's okay for them to hold the championship because you want them to lose it. So for Roman, it works. And I think, by the way, when the Usos turn on Roman Reigns, when it happens, I'm going because I'm really strong in my prediction that will happen. But I think Roman then will turn babyface as well. So it's the idea of you'll like to see him chase the championship. I don't think he'll ever hold that championship that same length of time again. I heard this is Edge's last year, so we enjoyed it while it lasts. Edge has definitely suggested that in a couple of interviews. I believe when he did the Ontario show last year, he said that when he would come back there a year later, that it would potentially be where he would finish up. He definitely has been suggesting it. So yeah, definitely enjoy it while it lasts. And of course, Edge did sign a 3-year contract with WWE when he returned. I believe now what he's doing is actually doing the time that he was out injured for. Of course, he was injured at that Backlash where he was the greatest wrestling match of all time with Randy Orton, and he was out to the Rumble. I think that's the time he's filling in. So it'd be interesting to see if he does stay with the company afterwards, but could be right. NXT says, what's your thoughts on the whole MJF throwing a drink in a kid's face? Feel it's the wrong kind of heat, in my opinion, unless it was a plant. I 100% agree. Look, MJF does all sorts of things, doesn't he? Get his heat and stuff, and some of it is quite entertaining, some of it's crossing the line. For me, this is something that would cross the line, in my opinion. Like you said, unless it's a plant, for me, I'm not in favour of it. So yeah, I kind of agree that it's just the wrong kind of heat. Ghost Spider says Edge's final pay-per-view should be against Bobby Lashley or Drew McIntyre. Two very good matches. For me, I would like it to be Drew, just off those two, just because I don't think I ever remember them two mixed up in the ring. My head feels like surely we got an Edge Bobby Lashley match in Raw in 2006 or 7 before Bobby got injured and left the company, but I could be wrong with that. Sination says, I have a feeling that the Guns are going to be transitional champions with FTR back. I agree. I think that the Guns don't even make it to Double or Nothing with those tag team titles. I think it could be one of these. I'll go with the St. Patrick's Day show, the St. Patrick's Day Slam that they do. That's when I think FTR win the gold. JD, if we should go back to Machismo, I agree. That would definitely be something fun to see him do. I don't know. It's just I can't really put my finger on it. There's just lacking something. I mean, I don't think he even probably needs that. If he just had a bit of better direction, I think. I feel he's just there to have good matches, which is all well and good. They usually are good matches, but I like a bit of storytelling to go with my wrestling, and Jey just feels like he's just there, which for me just isn't enough at this particular moment. We've seen here, C Nation says WrestleMania 39 will be the downfall of the bloodline. It certainly could be. We'll have to wait and see if it will be or won't be. But as I say, at this moment, I feel like giving all my predictions for WrestleMania away. But at this early stage, I do agree with C Nation. I think that they will drop all the gold. Sorry, I needed a drink break there. Kate says, I don't see the big deal about MJ throwing water. Like it was harmless. He did throw it in the kid's face. The kid probably loved it. He's part of history now. I probably don't mind it in the long run, but it depends how a child feels at the time, obviously. If he was not expecting it, it's... I don't, for me, I wasn't a fan of it personally, but like you say, perhaps in time, he's on TV, you may think, oh, I'm on there, and probably will get over it. Maybe as well. Something I think there was a really touching moment from WWE just recently. I think Liv Morgan lost the match, and a fan of hers was really upset in the crowd. They sort of zoned in on this kid being really upset. Liv Morgan actually invited her backstage to meet her, and I thought that was a really nice moment. That's really cool, and it's a good sort of stuff that you like to see on social media. So yeah, I'm a fan of that. Sineshi goes on to say, I still don't understand why Darby Allin won the TNT Championship this year just to drop it to Samoa Joe, for Samoa Joe to drop it to Wardlow. It's a hot potato at the minute, the TNT Championship, and it has been for quite a while since the early days of it. I don't think it has the same prestige as what it once did for me personally, but what I will say is that Darby, I think, obviously had some story motive at the time from Sting to go and win it. I think Darby will turn on Sting later this year, but they really are sort of slowing up with that storyline. So, again, needed to get a move on, I think. KXO says, if the Street Profits join the Hurt Business, what happens to Cedric and Shelton? They remain in catering, sadly, for them. Two great talents, but they were losing matches when MVP was there. They've not been proving themselves to be successful on screen. So I guess that probably means that they'll suffer off screen and will remain in catering. But I like them as a tag team. I'd like them to be on main event. To be honest, really, the Hurt Business, if it's different members in the group, maybe it's nice to change the name of the group. But then DX is one of my favorite factions of all time. Started with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Rick Rude, and China. And of course, it ended up being Triple H, X-Pac, and the New Age Outlaws for quite a while with China. So, yeah, I mean, members can change in groups. That's just what happens, I guess, from time to time. Sinistro says the Usos have to lose at WrestleMania. They are running out of tag teams to face. They are, but we mentioned earlier, maybe the Creed brothers might come up after WrestleMania. That's a match I'd be quite keen on seeing. But yeah, I mean, they'll still have to face tag teams with or without those championships. Okay, so it says, do you think Cody Rhodes will become a Paul Heyman guy? Imagine heel Cody versus face Roman. Love the idea. I know if Jonesy was in the chat right now or watching this, he would be loving this idea. I don't see it happening. I think Cody wants to be babyface, wants to be the face of WWE. And I think certainly for the beginning part of it, I think he's going to get his way. Whether it'll be towards the end of the year, whether fans will get stale and turn on Cody, that remains to be seen. But we'll have to wait and see where it will go. But I do feel that while I think that would be a really fun idea, especially with Paul Heyman teasing with his wife and stuff like that, I don't see it happening in the short-term future now. Sinisha says, fun fact, before this epic Roman Reigns world title run, he never had a good and long title run, so that's probably why he's had, why this one is long. Smart thinking by WWE. Yeah, I can't think of a long run from Roman Reigns before that either, mainly because fans were crapping all over every single one of them, and thankfully this was the one they did, because this one was the right one. The story from start to finish has been beautiful. Silk says, do you think they should bring back the Cruiserweight title back to the main roster? I feel there's a lot of talent going unused. I think Triple H could do something special with it. Short answer, yes. I would love to see it. I mean, we mentioned earlier on about the Mae Young Classic being involved. How about the Cruiserweight Classic? Just bring that with all the people on Raw and SmackDown. Make the championship be able to go to both shows, like the women's tag team titles. That'd be a great way to do it. You look at the likes of Ricochet, Mustafa Ali. There's so many great talents that could hold that championship as well. Like make it back to 215 rather than 205. And I think they could do something good with it. I completely agree with it. Would love to see it. Sination says MJF crossed the line when he put his middle finger up in front of at the kid. I mean, the thing is with that, I mean, yeah, he shouldn't be doing that either. The only thing I would say with that though is that AEW is a TV 14 show, so I mean there is that element as well. I'm going to play the other side, the devil's advocate side, just for the second, and say that I suppose if you're in that environment, you should be over. I mean, expecting to see that. I mean, imagine like kids seeing, like we said, the Texas Death Match. That's probably not something they should be seeing, really. But look, that's people's choices to take kids to the show. But at the same time, I don't agree with saying actively a finger being put up directly if it's put up in their face, and I don't agree with water being thrown at them either. But that's just my take personally. Also, MJF went too far when he said a woman should not host shows. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that either. I mean, MJF is doing it to get the heat, and I suppose that is the heat he's probably looking for. But sometimes there is cheap heat in there. AEW needs to give Jay Lethal a character he would get over. Then I would agree. I think that that's certainly what is missing for him at this moment. Ghostfighter says, "How and what about King and Queen of the Ring winners, Karrion Kross and Becky Lynch? Would love to see it, especially for Karrion Kross of those two. For me, I mean, Becky Lynch has already done everything she needs to do in WWE. Would prefer an up and coming star personally, but of course, if you want a star to win it, then of course you can't go wrong with Becky Lynch winning it. Karrion Kross for me, that can take him to another level. I would be down with that. For me, LA Knight would be a great King of the Ring as well. I think it could be quite fun with even the throne gimmick, actually, if we're being honest. But yeah, I mean, for the women's side, again, the two names that stand out are Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Pick one, replace the other, depending on where it needs to be, Money in the Bank and all that, because they're the two up and coming stars next there. But of course, at the same time, Carmella could be a fun shout as well, because Carmella's obviously come back with her old gimmick. Give it a couple of months, see how well it gets over or not. If it's not, then you can change it up to this as well. And Nick Steve, you are right. Don't forget, Hornswoggle was in TX, a key member. Oh dear. The beauty of the WWE Network and Peacock as well for anyone that's watching. The Jericho Appreciation Society is pretty much Inner Circle 2.0. Pretty much is at this point. Yeah, it is what it is. Is Roderick Strong still in NXT? If he is, he's been there since 2016. And do you know what he is? I had a Google search recently because I was actually thinking myself, where's Roddy Strong gone? He's injured. So that's why he's not in WWE at the moment, and why we don't see him on a week-to-week basis. Of course, he was taken out by the infamous NXT parking lot, I believe, by Damon Kemp. So fingers crossed he'll come back soon. But yeah, he's been out for quite a while. Ghost Spider says Seth Rollins should win the WWE Universal Championship somewhere this year. I'd be keen for that as well. That's definitely a name in there that I'd be like to see do it. I mean, obviously, him and Cody could have that final match. Of course, could be one shout. If there is a Gunter, for example, would be another great match to see. Even Roman Reigns, be a match I'd be down for seeing. So yeah, wouldn't mind doing it. Wouldn't mind seeing it. Richard reckons that the Creed brothers might turn on Bron Breakker to align with Grayson Waller. There'll be multiple heel turns on NXT Roadblock. I know Richard loves a heel turn. Personally, I don't see it, but hey, you never know. Stranger things have happened. Since says true, but that person was still a kid. I'd be fine if MGF did that to an adult. And do you know what? 100% agree with you, C Nation. I'm not even going to disagree with you. Rodriguez could be a good Queen of the Ring winner. Agree. She could be the one day Mabel, where she gets carried to the ring. Oh, that's a fun gimmick back in the day. Yeah, I like the reference there. I think even Haku, I think, did it, and Harley Race back in the 80s as well. So yeah, it's a long overdue gimmick that could be brought in. I'm surprised Xavier Woods didn't bring it in. Actually, it would have really fit Woods' character. But yeah, it would be fun to see anyone do that. Ghostwell, who is more annoying, Mustafa Ali or Grayson Waller? For me, Grayson Waller. I don't know something about him. He's got one of them faces. He's got that kind of like heel heat where I'm just like, yeah, I don't. He's a heck of a talent, but he does give that unlikable factor. So for me, Grayson Waller. Looks like the Queen's Crown tournament is not Queen of the Ring. Yeah, guess not. They didn't make reference to it, did they, in the video package, which I believe Zelina Vega made a reference to on social media. Same with Xavier Woods as well. It was interesting that neither of them were actually given the shout in the video package. What have WWE done to Mustafa Ali? Also, what happened to that Seth freaking Rollins and Mustafa Ali United States title feud? Never happened. And Mustafa, do you know what I found it quite entertaining him egging Dolph on Raw. Maybe I'm on my own on that one, but he was annoying in the crowd. But I thought that was what the whole point of it was. And I must admit, I did have a little bit of a chuckle when I see him in the front row with the sign cheering him on. I just hope that storyline takes a bit more of a quicker direction. They've been feuding for a long time, Ali and Dolph, but yeah, I actually didn't mind that this week. Silk says the problem with MJF is he's getting all the cheap heat and wrong heat again. I can see WWE sour on signing him. We have seen what happens to talent for prior actions before signing with WWE, and that's true. It can come back to bite people in the backside. MJF, of course, but he knows how to get the master of heat on his side as well. But yeah, he needs to know with certain bits what are the wrong kinds of heat. What's the good heat? What's the wrong heat? Baron Corbin also did it. I don't remember when Corbin did it, but yeah, well, there you go. If he did it before, I meant now, not. I don't know. We'll go back and see if that's actually edited that comment there. Ghostbusters says, or a better idea, who could win Queen of the Ring tournament? Raquel Rodriguez or Dakota Kai? Interesting. I mean, I'm stuck with Dakota there, but do you know what could be quite fun? And I still see this as well. Io and Dakota were not keen on the idea of that women's match at WrestleMania. I do think if they lose that, which more likely they probably will, I can see Damage Control breaking up the night after Mania, and that would free Dakota Kai to go and win a tournament like that. And I think Io Sky as well would be destined for a big push in WWE. I can see that going forward. Nation reckons that WWE is punishing Mustafa Ali for acting like a heel on accident on Raw Talk. Oh, to be fair, I never watched Raw Talk, so I can't really comment on that. But if that's the case, then yeah, we'll have to wait and see. MJF goes too far. He needs to think before he does something. He does go too far. Sometimes that can work really well. Like I said, the in-ring stuff, when he was talking with Regal and stuff like that, the stuff planned out there, the stuff with Bryan Danielson, I thought was really fun a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, like you said, there are times where he does go too far. And Nation goes here. It looks like that the Queen's Crown tournament is not the Queen of the Ring. That's what I'm editing. I meant it is now Queen of the Ring. Yes, it is now Queen of the Ring. In fact, it's now King and Queen of the Ring when it comes to that show in Jeddah. So that's all the comments that I've got in. So I'll just say to everyone quickly to say, if you've enjoyed the video, then please do hit the like button, share it with a friend as well, and subscribe to the channel. If any more comments do come in, I'll definitely happily go for another few minutes before signing off. Nation's gone straight in there with it and says MJF's car accident story was funny because I knew it wasn't real. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it wasn't real. That was borderline because I feel like US time zone. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, but like that was like 8 p.m. but it's before 9 p.m. I don't know what it's like in the States with the watershed. UK with stuff like that, you can't do that till after 9 p.m. So for me, it was like a bit risky, but at the same time, yeah, the promo was funny. Ghost Spider says, I think Dijak and JD McDonough carrying Cross and Scarlett should be in a faction. Love the idea of that. Add Bronson Reed to that as well. For me, that would be an awesome faction. Ghost Spider, I like it a lot. And Silk says, surely Carmella is favourite for Queen of the Ring, the Princess of Staten Island to become Queen of Staten Island. Do you know what? I love that idea. That's an awesome idea. Yeah, for me, I'm fully invested with that. I like that a lot. I can't add any more things. Book it, WWE. If you're watching this, that's the one to book. MJF needs to take a chill pill. I don't think he'll be chilling anytime soon. You saw him in that press conference. He's definitely got some time ahead to do a bit more provoking before he loses that championship. Shahid, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Says, what's your predictions at WrestleMania 39 between Damage Control and Trish, Lita, and probably Becky Lynch, who will take that victory? That is my prediction. As I mentioned a couple of seconds ago, I do think there's a potential Damage Control could break up after WrestleMania. I think that there is a chance that Io and Dakota would have had enough of Bayley. They have not been working well as a trio, losing more every feud that they've had. So yeah, I can see that the babyfaces will probably more than likely go over at WrestleMania. Alyssa joining us as well. How are we doing? Alyssa says, is Swerve Jey Uso to Roman Reigns false insecurity? Turn on Roman, return Phil, end of Bloodline. Just feels like he's trying to swerve Roman Reigns. Alyssa, to expand on your point there, because I think you are right. As I said this earlier in the video, I think Jey Uso has done this for his protection of his brother Jimmy. And like you said there, this could be full security. He's not really doing this for Roman and the bloodline. You said that you feel the swerve is there. I agree with you. I think that once Roman and the Usos drop those championships, Jey Uso will pull the trigger because Roman is blamed Jey, he's blamed Jimmy. He only needs a moment to blame Solo between now and WrestleMania, and that's it. All three of them are ready to turn around Reigns the second something has gone wrong, and it would be perfect for SmackDown after WrestleMania. So I completely agree with your statement. Sinistro says, I can see Carmella and Chelsea Green as a tag team. They certainly have been flirting with the idea for the last couple of weeks on WWE TV. And for me, I think that'd be a good tag team to have in the women's tag team division personally. Especially, they could even be the team that could take the gold. Who knows? If they annoy Adam Pearce enough, maybe that could be a potential they could get their way. I think MJF is the youngest part-time. He certainly could be. But the thing is, he's an attraction. This is the difference of AEW to WWE. I mean, Rampage, let's forget about it at this point. Dark and Elevation. Does anyone watch it? I don't. So MJF is on Dynamite. And obviously, he does most of his stuff as an attraction. It's the mic work, gets everything to cook everybody in. That's why we see him only wrestle once every couple of months. But as Nick Steve said on our predictions video, he would like to see MJF more in the ring. I would as well. Perhaps maybe not to points every week, but I personally would like it at least once a month. At the moment, we're in March already, and he's wrestled twice. So yeah, and one of them has been pay-per-view. Ghost Spiner says, I can't wait for Rey Mysterio to snap and hit the 619 on Dominic at WrestleMania. Do you know what? In a way, I would love it to be at WrestleMania, because you imagine the pop if Rey did it there. The fact that he's maybe forced into the match, for example, and he doesn't have a choice. And then, he says, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. And then he just does it at WrestleMania. I think it would be amazing to happen. But I feel he will snap before then. They really are teasing it the last couple of weeks on SmackDown. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite fun to see. Surely Rey gets the revenge, but maybe doesn't. The thing is, actually, I'm really glad you brought this up, actually. Really glad you brought it up, because let's just talk about it quickly. Dominic took the mask, didn't he, this past week from Santos Escobar after winning the match. Rey wasn't too happy about it after it had been ripped up. I do think we're coming for this week where Dominic is also going to say he wants Rey's mask. I can see that coming. I think we could get masked Dominic Mysterio after WrestleMania. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. A part of Judgment Day as well, with a Judgment Day themed Rey Mysterio style mask. That could be pretty cool. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get that in the storyline next. Sinistro says, I see Dakota Kai being a good solo star. Io Sky needs a manager. I don't necessarily think Io needs a manager personally. I mean, she was awesome in NXT without one. But, I mean, for me, I'm still waiting for Io versus Asuka. I can't wait for that match to go down. But I do think that all ladies will succeed on their own. And probably would split up in the draft as well, to be fair. Sinistro says, I can see Jey Uso winning a mid-card title, but not the world title. I can see both. But if Jay's going to do it, he really would need the breakup of the bloodline to do it and be the leader in pack of it. If he beats Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, for example, like I've predicted, then I don't see why Jey Uso couldn't go for a world title after that. If he won it, that would be pretty cool as well. Liv Morgan needs Queen of the Ring. I would be down for that. I mean, I think she'd be good for that spot as well. It's a good way as a platform to get back on the path to win a world title, whether she's on SmackDown or on Raw. So for me, totally in favor of that idea. NXT says a lot of singles matches lined up for Mania. Can you see Battle Royals come back to the kickoff show? Yes, is the short answer I'm going to say for that. Yes, because I think there's a lot of people that won't get on the card. I think that's the way to get everybody there, to keep a trimmed card for WrestleMania. At the moment, we've got 7 matches, as I said at the start of the video. We're looking at rumored for 10 at the minute. Perhaps it may end up with 12 in total. That's 6 on each night. The Battle Royals then fill up the kickoff and you get everybody on the card. And I think that's a good way to do it, because you can do 20, 30 people in a battle royal if needed. So yeah, I do see them coming back. They could even be on the main show. Right, last couple of comments then I shall wrap things up for you. Going to start with CNation Dog says, if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos main event's night 1, then Jey Uso has a good reason to call himself main event Jey Uso. He certainly does. And that would be a good moniker to keep on his name going forward. C Nation says as well, adds more heat to MJF being a part-time. It certainly does. I mean, people want to see him get a punch on the face, let's be fair, for all his antics that he does. And yeah, the longer you've got to wait, the more you want to see it happen. So it does work. If Dakota Kai and Io Sky turn on Bayley, I want to see Becky Lynch and Bayley as a tag team, says Ghost Spider. Probably not in the short term, but perhaps at some point down the line, that could always be a possibility. Rivals become friends. We've seen it happen before. I think one day it will happen, but it's just when, I think, is at this particular moment. But it certainly could be a fun and interesting twist. The fans have changed their Okay, the fans changed their minds too much. I need more reference of what I was saying, which got you to say that, C Nation, just so we got some clarification there. Dominic Mysterio should beat Rey Mysterio. It will give him a lot of heat. It certainly would indeed. Maybe not Latino heat, but certainly a lot of heat. And also true, Oscar has no manager and she is fine. She is indeed. She's doing very well in her role right now. And a lot of people seem to want her to win at WrestleMania, it feels, at the minute. Shaheen says, who will take the victory between the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, or probably Roman Reigns? Will the Bloodline band be banned from the ring at the main event of WrestleMania 39? They possibly could be. Cody seems to be at the moment of the belief that Roman needs them to do his dirty work, and I think they will find a way for Cody to not have the others at ringside. Where they've already been beaten down, for example, earlier in the evening, say it's the tag team titles, whatever it is that gets Roman Reigns on his own, I could see that being the case. And at the moment, it goes backwards and forwards. Still think Cody is going to do it at WrestleMania, but the thing that makes me think he may not do it at WrestleMania is because of that Roman is near 1,000 days as champion. That's the only thing that stops me thinking that Roman may not lose those championships. Right, so again, we've got four comments. We'll stick and go for those 4 comments, then we'll wrap it up. Imagine how physical match will be between Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell match. That would be definitely a banger. I think, to put it nicely and quickly, banger after banger. These two have had some great matches previously. The sort of, was it Force Count Anywhere or whatever it was they did in Fastlane in the Thunderdome? That was brilliant. The Donnybrook match they did as well was fantastic. So yeah, I think this would be a good one. Would like to see it. I see Katana Chance and Lyra Valkyria. Never easy for me to say that one. Betraying Roxanne Perez during NXT Roadblock. Richard, I think you might be off on that one, but hey, if you get it, I'll be cheering you on. And also, Sinister says last year, Becky Lynch and Lita had a match for the Raw Women's Championship. They did the Elimination Chamber. Now they're Women's Tag Team Champions. They certainly are. The wondering I have is, when are they going to lose those championships now? When is Lita's deal up to recompete in ring at this particular moment? Maybe Lita may hold those championships with Becky a little bit longer now after WrestleMania. Sinister says fans wanted MJF to become AEW World Champion. Now they want him to lose it. I have a video on how I think MJF should be booked in 2023, and I will say to you, I personally don't want him to lose it, but certainly a lot of people have not felt this reign so far has been as strong as it could have been. Obviously, MJF works really well as the attraction for a show, but does he work as the focal point world champion of your show? That's still something that AEW and the fan base are probably figuring out at this moment. But for me personally, I still don't want him to lose that championship at this particular stage. Right, that's it. That's where we're going to wrap it up. But I want to thank everybody for getting involved in the chat. You are all awesome. Thank you for taking the time out to watch this video, especially when it's been so impromptu as well. Literally set up the stream about 20 minutes before going live. So thank you, everybody, for keeping me company, for getting to talk about professional wrestling. It's been a lot of fun. There will be another Q&A on Thursday this week. I'm going to be joined by a first-time guest, Charlie, from Hannah's Chat channel. He's going to be a big wrestling fan, so he's coming on for the first time. And looking forward to having him on. It's going to be good to talk about pro wrestling with him. So get your questions ready for Thursday. We will go again, which will be on the UK time at 9:30 p.m., which means on the east coast of the United States will be 4:30 p.m. And obviously then that will be 3:30 p.m. For Central Time as well. But that's all from me. If you enjoyed the video, then please do hit the like button, consider sharing with a friend, subscribe, and drop a comment below as well about anything that's been discussed today. If you're watching on delay, then thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Look after yourselves and each other. Check out my Roadblock predictions before the show tonight, and also how I would book, stand, and deliver. Those videos are already on the channel. But that's all from me. Thanks for watching. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day as well. And yeah, see you next time. All the best.